Hi there everyone, and in this video I would like to show you a recent chess game from the Qatar Masters Open 2023 chess tournament. So in this chess game we have Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces, and his opponent was Srihari from India, strong international chess master who was 24-38, but even though he is strong and he is an international master, he was 400 points lower rated than Carlsen. So Carlsen is 28-39. So let's see what happened in this chess game. This is a notable chess game. So we have c4, the English opening, c6, d4, d5, knight to f3, knight to f6, and we have the Slav defense, and white is playing the Catalan opening, bishop to f5, knight to c3, e6, so knight to h4, chasing the bishop, d takes on c4, capturing the bishop, e takes on f5, and then e3 by Magnus Carlsen, so targeting the c-pawn, planning to capture the pawn with the bishop, with developing the bishop, and we have bishop to d6, developing the bishop. But if trying to defend, if b5, then bishop to g2 is a very strong move for white. So the threat is knight takes on b5. If capturing the knight, then bishop takes rook. So you can see that white is targeting the weakness of black, and this pawn is looking like a very weak pawn. So white has a very good position. So e3, bishop to d6, and simply capturing the pawn with developing the bishop, and white is doing okay. White has a very good position, and we can see that black has doubled pawn structure in the king side, so black castled, developing the queen, and then g6, defending the f-pawn, h3, not allowing knight to g4, queen to e7, lining the queen with the king, and Carlsen castled. We have h5, so fighting for g4, and rook to e1, and in this position, actually the computer engine says if white can push the e-pawn, if e4, well, white is doing very well. So black doesn't want white to play e4, so black played knight to e4, and Carlsen pushed the pawn and fighting for the g-file. He wants to open the g-file, crack open the g-file and attack the king. Very aggressive plan. So h takes on g4, h takes on g4, and then bishop to b4, pinning the knight, and it looks like there is no way out for white because the knight is pinned. And how to defend? You can't defend with the bishop because knight takes bishop. So in this position, it looks like knight takes knight is unstoppable. After capturing the knight, bishop takes, forking the rooks. So Magnus Carlsen is going after the king. He played g takes on f5, allowing knight takes on c3. So black is going after the material. Magnus Carlsen is going after the throat. He is going after the threat. He is going after the king. So forking the rooks, and after bishop takes on c3, white has a very strong move in this position, and Magnus Carlsen played queen to g4, of course, and black can't capture the rook. So delayed gratification, king to g7. Of course, black is eventually going to capture the rook, but even this position is not winning for black, believe it or not. So, but if immediately capturing the rook, then basically black is losing by force, just like this. Queen takes on g6. And the f-pawn is pinned, and this bishop is a very strong piece, so this is the only move, check, only move, and then pushing the pawn, and basically white is winning by force. And how to defend? Queen to g7, checkmate. Black has to give up the queen, and that is all over, of course. So this is why in this position, queen to g4 by Magnus Carlsen, king to g7 defending, and it is white to move. Now what? So which rook to save? Or is there something else? What would you do in this position? Actually, there is a very strong move for white. Of course, it is e4, e4 by Magnus Carlsen. This opens the bishop, and this is the idea. We have capturing the rook, and then bishop to g5, attacking the queen. So queen to b4, forking the bishop and the rook. But you might also ask what happens if pushing the pawn. Now this was the idea of white. Can you see that move? First of all. Okay, so this is the idea. Check. And if capturing the bishop, of course, black is getting checkmated. And if not, if moving the king up, then rook to e3 or even pawn takes pawn is very strong. So knight to d7, bishop to g7. So you can't capture with the king, but if capturing with the queen, check. Because of the bishop, there is no escape. So one of the only defense, and then capturing, check, only defense, and black is getting checkmated by force. So basically, this is a deadly move by Magnus Carlsen, and black can't push the f-pawn, otherwise black is losing by force with bishop to h6. So we have queen to b4, forking the rook and the bishop. And it is white to move. Now Magnus Carlsen played f6, checking the king, sending the king back, and then simply capturing the bishop. Rook takes on a1. But in this position, king to g2 is actually a very cool move for white. This is actually a very strong move. Actually, rook takes bishop is sufficient, but the computer engine says this is even better, because if capturing the rook, then bishop to e3, I think bishop to d2 would be also a very cool move, because of queen takes on g6, moving the king, queen to g7 checkmate. So in this position, basically white is threatening a queen takes pawn and then checkmating the king on g7. So king to h7, but after checking the king, sending the king back, and black can't defend, queen to g7, checkmate. So interesting, but Magnus Carlsen preferred rook takes on a1, and this is a very human move. Knight to d7, well, the queen is coming, queen to h3, and basically there is no sensible defense against queen to h6. This is why Srihari resigned, the strong international chess master from India. He was 18 years old actually. So let me show you what happens in the possible continuation. Actually, there is no sensible defense. So queen takes on c4 and then queen to h6, capturing the pawn, defending on g7, but placing the bishop on f6, and there is no defense against queen to g7 or queen to h8 checkmate. Only defense, only move that prolongs the game is queen to f1. This is not a defense, of course, and then getting checkmated. So what a game by Magnus Carlsen. His opponent usually went for the material. Magnus Carlsen went for the throat. A very aggressive, a very beautiful attacking chess game. So I hope to see you next time with more interactive chess games. Stay safe, take care, and bye bye.